I've recently had the pleasure of making an acquaintance of a poet in France who is one of those marvelous poets whose work is quite different than mine, and that's what I think really kind of spices up our relationship. He writes what I call chiming metaphors. There's not really a narrative arc, there's not really a story told, but he just strings these amazing comparatives and metaphors, and it's marvelous. He's so well educated. So you might glance from outer cosmic space and nebular space down to microns and nanometers, and then a reference to an ancient cultural god or goddess. It's really amazing stuff. So it has loosened my own work up. So this is a little piece I think of in tribute to my friend Robert. It's called Midnight's Darkling Cushion. In midnight's flowering hour, the scarab beetle scratching faintly sainted bowers, bursting burn its churning told unterd. Turin folds these old waxen wings, blue blazed sheaves these dark blessings bring, yearning, learning, leap these leaving tin-tight peaks, lessen the blessed wings of Zeus juice, sure swift swans what whisperings, bridge the wavy moonlight water slip, circumferal careening near the gurgling, between its weighty groaning rocks, with pride peering, burbled blocks bubble, bumping strumped the straining stalks, clean cheese, this crystalline crayfish chase and clash, gnash silvered minnows, lash their laughing trailing tails a-whirl, the froggy hobbit hops, and coining flops on silent eyes disguised. Well dropped my darlings, mewing, dewing lips that misty kiss, moon round the rich velvet evernight, with her startling silent silver stars. So these oh so bright pierced pebbles tumble splash across the satin sugary night, might mean mint mental gash. The gazillion thrilling spill of diamantine diatoms adorn dame darling datum churn. And oh so darling drighted dream, O queen of nights so brave, amethystine crowned brow so soon, each atom spasm churn the tune. Drop she the grounded falling gown, untorn though found, replaced by 10 vermilion maenads' kisses, lips complete with teeth. She lets it part, and falling arch and slyly steps to stroll. The wise thighs rolls past her last roiling gait, across the charmed chasm's crystalline garden glory. Twists my searching soul, each shifting, sifting, soft, gentle, with each stained, sainted, folding fingers scroll. Her fairy laughter droll and eyes dash, or in so dainty scare we, the bearing down skyward chambers laugh. Pleasured path, that darling darting cosmic comet's task. Ply our velvet staff at last, our daring darling's path relieve. Dance we in diamond sky, belie breathless, we deathless lie. Daring dawn to share our creaming curtains drawn in spawn in our myriad memories. This millennia of miracles, stolen here, her hot breath on my cheeks, peaks pale past, the blushing bounty rushed, cost tossed. And I'll share one more. I grew up in Palm Beach County. I wasn't, you mentioned 125, I think I was around 65 anniversary. I lived in Stuart for over 50 years. I'm a retired city planner and a college instructor. So this poem is about a guy who got kicked out of his house and with consequences, I suppose. And you'll sense that from the poem. The poem is called The Sun Broke Down. Without a reason, the sun broke down where the muddy river comes into town. The clouds passed, the moon at night. His cave was lonely without its light. The shadows rode into the dawn, the twisted wind sang a lonesome song. The gate swung open and the torches flared. The fires were burning, the skulls in hell. People were dressed and the party rolled.
The gold arrived and the sun exploded. He hid himself in a swamp of mud where the waters drifted and began to flood. She left him twice when the train arrived. The sun came up and the river dried. The planets moved and the stars appeared. The moon left tracks from passing tears. The dark was dark and the light faded away. There was nothing left for him to stay. He left his home with the sweet gum trees, the butterflies and the bumblebees. He slept on the long log and the sleep was good. Memories faded of his neighborhood where the fire was dim and the dim was older. The end was now and the now was over.
Wonderful.
Okay. For those of you who don't know me, I doubt it, but Anthony Stevens is the nom de porn. A while back on Facebook, someone, I believe it was one of the writer groups, I forget which one now, someone posted an interesting observation that it would be possible for a samurai in the latter years of his life and an old Western gunslinger and a Victorian thief could actually get together in the Wild West. They would build, their time frames would overlap. Well, I thought about that a while. It was kind of neat. And then I started, well, how about turning it into an urban fantasy tale and toss in some other fictional characters and see where it would go. So I ended up spending a couple of weeks writing a short story. And what I'm going to share with you tonight is just the first chapter in this short story. I'm planning on posting it up on my website in its entirety, hopefully this weekend if all goes well. It's called High Country Curse. First chapter, Samurai's Tale, 1790. I was a man of intellect, reason, and action. I had no time for fantasy tales of vampires until I was disgraced and ready to die. The saddest part of it all was that I had dishonored myself in order to save my daughter. It was a useless gesture, as the lord I had abandoned sent another samurai and 3 farmers to hunt us. An arrow in the back had ended my daughter's life, and now I faced another warrior, whom I had trained with on many occasions. Alone, it would have been a fair battle, but my dishonor meant he would occupy me while one of the farmers would attack from behind and hamstring me. As I fell, my opponent would remove my sword and carry off my katana, wakizashi, and tanto blades to finish my disgrace. I would not be granted an honorable death, but would be left to either bleed out or finish my days as a crippled beggar. The 4 of them entered the light from my small campfire from different sides. They were moving slowly, taking their time, grim-faced. Blinking away my tears, I stepped aside from my daughter's body, drew my blade, and took a defensive stance. The warrior tossed aside the bow, drew his blade, and attacked. The first few blows were standard, expected, and easily deflected. He was toying with me. I could only track 2 of the farmers with their long pikes. I danced from side to side, hoping to avoid the crippling and cowardly rear attack. Suddenly, my opponent's eyes grew wide, and he took several steps back. I pressed the advantage, just as a scream from behind interrupted the ringing of our blades. A bloody pike flew past me and clattered against a tree. The other samurai and I both froze, and his face held something I'd never seen him display in the past: fear. Another scream, and another pike landed at my feet. A quickly moving shadow caught our attention, and we saw the remaining farmer turn and run. The shadow resolved itself into a slender man who was faster than anyone I'd ever seen. He grabbed the farmer by his hair and spun him around. The pike came around too, but it broke against the attacker's forearm. The same arm snapped forward and ripped out the farmer's throat. Before the body could fall, the slender man clutched it to his mouth, and we heard ripping and sucking sounds. The slender man dropped the corpse, turned to face us, wiped his bloody mouth on the sleeve, and spoke. "I believe the odds are much more even now, don't you? Please, take your time and continue." Swallowing the gorge rising in my throat, I turned my attention back to the battle at hand. Our steel rang loud and glistened in the firelight as we fought. My blade finally buried itself in his neck, and, as he fell, his blade laid a furrow over my belly. Bleeding profusely and clutching my own entrails, I stepped back from his body and recognized the sound of applause. The vampire was squatting, clapping, and smiling at me. "Well done! That was as fine a battle as I've seen." "Thank you," I replied with a slight bow, as I raised the katana with one hand and prepared to engage the monster. "Oh, relax, my friend. I have no plans to kill you tonight. I do believe you owe me a story, though. Why were these men hunting you, and why did they murder your child?" I sheathed my blade, squatted by the fire, and took a drink from a small bottle of sake. For a few moments, I said nothing, just stared at the small body. There was a battle, and we were all fighting at the side of our Lord. We were chasing the enemy from our streets when I heard my wife scream my name. She was running towards me, our child by her side, when an arrow took her life. She fell, and our daughter stumbled and fell into a ditch. The enemy was still a threat, and our Lord ordered us to continue. I disobeyed, rescued our daughter, and carried her away from that miserable place. The vampire nodded understanding. It was a cowardly act for them to kill her with an arrow from the dark. I'm glad we ended them. He looked up, and I stared into eyes black as night. He held my gaze for a few moments, then looked away before speaking once more. "I have enjoyed watching your mastery of the blade. Teach me, Aido, the way of the sword, and I will heal all your wounds and grant you a very long life." I glanced down at the bloody mess of my belly. "You cannot save me. I've seen many wounds such as these, and even if I should survive the night, my old Lord will send others to finish the job." "Let them come. If you take me as your student, you will become as me. No one will stand against us." He appeared sincere, but I had to ask. "I just saw you rip apart 3 strong men with just your hands and teeth. What need have you for the sword?" "I have lived more than 200 years and am easily bored. I can speak and read a dozen languages, and I'm always looking for new things to learn. I have plenty of time to learn, and it would amuse me to be able to wield a blade as you." I held out the bottle of sake. "Can you drink to the deal?" He took the bottle, raised it in salute, and replied, "But of course, Sensei." Like I said, I'll have that up on my blog this weekend sometime if you want to read the rest of it. Somebody wants some cards? There's a inks. Thank you.
Big machine and start swallow up a car. And I was okay till it got to the camshafts and snapped them. I started to cry. A Western and a samurai
Yeah.
and a Victorian.
Yeah, they'll
You saw
get
Star
in there.
Wars, right?
And others too.
Yeah, it's a remake of Kurosawa. Nandula! Yes, sir. There you go. This is the 50th anniversary of the Midnight Dream Show in San Francisco with the Coquettes, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, Sylvester, and old strange movies like a 1924 silent movie with Lon Chaney called The Penalty. He did the whole movie with the legs tied up behind his back. And he was the leader of the San Francisco Underground. His name was Blizzard. And my dear friend Linda Post, God rest her soul, she had all the Amos and Andy, all the Sergeant Bilko. She had great old TV shows with the ads. And there was a costume contest. And this guy comes out, and of course, it's San Francisco, 1970, 71, and he's just got, he's got a pair of khaki pants, a Izod shirt, and one of them college boy jackets with the leather sleeves, and his best tab hunter. He just kind of walks across the stage. The place went nuts. and they won $1,000. I said, that's bullshit. So my friend Bob's wife is a curator for the Avery Brundage collection at the De Young Museum. And I got a whole suit of 12th century samurai armor. And the curtains closed, just one light, and I come out. What's going on? What's in And the place went berserk. But because I was the bouncer and the security guy, they wouldn't give me the money. They said they rolled it over to the next one. But scrumbly and hibiscus and, oh God, they used to do just the most incredible things. And now, people do that shit on YouTube and make money. I don't know. If you have trouble walking, just look at your feet. A bit of either overheard or read conversations. In case of fire, use nearest exit. That outward bound rollover, baby, I have a yank crank game for you to play. In mid-sentence, grated window blind reflection shimmer. Shake, counting hours as minutes, days as weeks. It's all part of a born awake only to cry then die. In the middle of this afternoon nap comes a voice, singing. Birds eat bugs and bugs eat bugs. Cooked up, we eat 'em all. Now, having had these high surf swim days, coated with salt, walking with a bit of a sway, looking down at feet, all the creation slides away. In a small church in Sicily, one candle burns for Santa Lucia, that blind woman who fed poor people. Along Avenue B in New York, once a great poet, drinks cheap wine, speaks to Bob Kaufman's ghost in a language only they speak or understand. Silent sorrows, doorway suffused light, leading up a flight of carpet stairs, a face-chased place. She looked out an upstairs window, saw him drive by, waved a ringless fingered hand. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. Echo bounce sad love song, sung in discord harmony off key. Each note choke, breathing through tears. Oblivion highway, always, always yesterday. Dust, ash, bones, skulls remain. We have been here. We left among those gone. Love songs play invisible stereo of our hearts, no matter what time of day it is. And then air, water, and a salami sandwich. And you, basic life needs. Dishes washed, floors cleaned, bed made, teeth brushed, toilets flush, all over every place. Wash face, kneel beside your bed, ask for safety, health, length of days, a kiss in thinking passing, caress, embrace, smile face to face, all before good night, my love. That kiss was for you. Now, you've all heard the story about the book that I got to notice. Is this the Dominic who went to Mark Twain and then went to Vietnam? Do you remember Arlene Berkowitz? Anyway, it gets weirder, okay? Arlene Berkowitz was born November 19th, 1938. I was born November 19th, 1945. Arlene Berkowitz lived on 33rd Street between Mermaid and Surf. I lived on 33rd Street between Mermaid and Neptune. Arlene Berkowitz went to Mark Twain Junior High School, then went to college and came back to teach at junior high school. How weird is it gonna get? We were both born in the French hospital on 10th Avenue. We both had 3 eye operations on our right eye when we were 4 years old. And I've only found out some of that stuff. Her daughter lives in Israel, and the book's number 2 on Ingram right now, and number 4 on Amazon.
Good job.
And I'm pretty excited about it. Oh boy. Most of that year is a blur. Oh, bullshit. I was quiet and kept myself entertained with my comic books and never paid any attention to any of the stuff she went on and on about. The day of the uproar, she's going on about only if you know Jesus and are baptized Catholic can you go to heaven. That was my oh shit moment. Are you telling me that if a little pygmy lives in Africa and hunts giant animals to feed the family, and that pygmy can't go to heaven because he ain't Catholic? I could see her start to steam. I could see her start to steam. And I must have made another wisecrack, because here she comes with the ruler at part arms. And I get up and tell her, you will never hit me again. I will pick up this chair and I will hit you with it. And I don't care if I kill you. Oh man, the whole class is dead silent. She leaves the room and puts one of the girls up front. Here comes Brother Justin, and I tell him too, you're not going to touch me. You're not going to put your hands on me. You're not going to hit me. I'm not scared of you. Just take me to Mother Superior and let's get this over with. Well, we did. He tried to grab my arm leaving the classroom, and I slipped down and kicked him with my Army-Navy shoe. Oh man, I'm at this point sure I'm going to jail or 600 school or worse. Funny enough, Sister Jean Rosaire is not at all upset, like she was waiting for something like this to happen. I already had the math homework bust. I used to give my brother candy bars to do my math homework. And I'm sure Mrs. Adams had told her about my mooning over Pamela, and who else knows what these penguins had on me. This is like 11 a.m., and my dad is home sleeping. He worked nights. But they call him up anyway. He comes in, a bit bleary-eyed, but to me, not all that upset. They give him the story. He wants to know what set me off. Sister Jean starts in about my bad deportment and regular wise-ass attitude. He's not buying it. He wants to know what happened. So they go get Sister Christine Marie, and she right away starts to babble about how I'm a heretic and probably need an exorcism, and I disrupt the whole class with my evil lies. So Pop being Pop wants to know what lie. And here it comes. The dogma of only baptized Catholics and the need to obey Holy Mother Church and the Holy Father, and sending me to St. Joseph Jesuit would be my only salvation. At that, Pop's had about enough. Did he hit anyone? And Brother Justin doesn't say anything about me kicking him. Come on down, I'm going home. By this time, I'm in tears. Either scared he's going to go ballistic on me, or just drained, because I wanted out of that school worse than I could even say. In one of the clearest and tenderest moments, we're on the steps going down, and he puts his hand on my shoulder and says, let me talk to your mother about this. You don't say anything about the church or any of that. I'm going to make it about your grades. At that is very clear in my mind. I can smell the candles, the censer. I can hear the big rosary beads jangle on the habits of the nuns, and have this idea I might indeed be going to hell. There was no one I could talk to about it, except my brother Tommy, who told me in his dry way, it's all a racket to make you be a good boy, and they all full of shit anyhow. The end of my parochial education.
Wow, you guys are some heavyweights to come up behind.
You haven't had to follow a kid and a dog yet, so don't worry about it.
Never work with kids or animals.
My heart's racing. God's slavery. Call to hate, blow the whistle. Light a candle, get a grip. Aimless wonder, where's the handle? On this earth, all's a gamble. In the embryo of civilization, happiness long lost, lies not told. Slaves bought and children sold. Soft the cradle of needles on which their keepers sleep. God said he was on their side, make no debate. Thought twisted as if spun on a wheel. Human beings, did they not feel? Walked on as if the ground which they strode. On God's great watch they toiled and died. Come ye followers, read my book. We'll twist it up, take a look. Hear me holler for our needs, send me $1. Let us pray they safely make the trip to gather more slaves on their holy ship. They have value, so not forgotten, across the pond to pick our cotton.
That's very good.
Introduce yourself.
I'm afraid, huh?
Introduce yourself.
Oh, Mike Bingman from Hope Sound. I came up a couple months ago, and thanks for having me. Going down. The haggard sailor played all night in the red light district he so adored. To see the next day, his head wreathing in pain and thought. Reports of a winter gale like no other. A full moon to gather thoughts. Rushing clouds scatter a sky. A sky cluttered with a brilliant kaleidoscope fantasy of thought, as if painted by heaven with unmitigated beauty. The sailor's hellish dream of doom, sent from Hades to torment, questioning their faith. Whores from last week's dance twirl in the mind of the sailor. Now within a second of doom, a gale of horror swirling in his thoughts of death. God, please, purgatory at best.
Wow.
Well hungover, head pounding like a kettle drum, intense rhythm of my shaking being, opening the eye to a day wrought with sorrow, like fucking magic from the highest highs, sleep, then the lowest depths my soul can muster. How long must one toil and struggle, a disease so fierce and cunning? The allure on the sidelines waiting till you pause, waiting for you to become weak, or in your mind strong. Because after all, you can handle just a couple, can't you? Well, certainly, I must be weak if I cannot. So you fall in the well of alcohol desire. Pitiful you are, last night patchy at best, putting the thoughts melted away in the blackout. Such a fucking beast, taking and giving no quarter. It has instincts of a killer. Not a normal killer. No, this fucker is slow and methodical. It takes its time, with an invisible knife, slowly dissecting your soul, piece by piece, till you are hollow and gone.
Shoot.